All right, let's talk about the functions of the pancreas. You see the pancreas, this very phallic-looking organ up here. Yes? Yes? Okay, but the head is actually the ball. So you understand that, right? They call the head of the pancreas. It's not the actual, what you would think. But do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. It's the other part. Okay, all right. So what's the main job of the pancreas? Y'all know this. All right, what's insulin's job? How does it lower blood sugar? It opens the door to the cells so that glucose can go into the cells, and then it burns oxygen so that you can burn the glucose into ATP. Cool. All right, so what happens if your pancreas is broken and you're not making insulin? You have hyperglycemia, yes? So it means that you will have to give them sliding scale insulin until this all resolves itself. You with? All right, second function of the pancreas is it makes pancreatic enzymes. Turn your papers over. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. This is anatomy. I already know this shit. Okay, so it produces pancreatic enzymes. What are the 3 pancreatic enzymes? Number 1, amylase. Number 2, lipase. Number 3, trypsin. What does amylase do? Breaks down carbs. What does lipase breaks down fats? What does trypsin do? Well, there's only one left. I told you all there was 3 things. Fat, carbs, and protein. That's it. Yes? Oh, I know that makes a big difference. All right, so what happens if you can't break down any of those things? Malabsorption, malnutrition. You may have steatorrhea, right? Or you may just have diarrhea. Yes? Your stomach's probably going to hurt. Oh, excuse me, your abdomen will probably hurt. Yeah? Okay. And they're going to be deficient long term. So, what lab would I need to draw on this patient? Albumin to see what their nutrient status is. And I need to do this for their fluid balance. Courtney, thank you. Oh, yeah. You went away for a while. Daily weight. Okay. Okay. You always say it. So I asked you. All right. And then if they can't make any of their pancreatic enzymes, we have to give it to them. It comes in a capsule, right? And we open it and we sprinkle it on all of their food. And it starts to eat their food before they actually put it in their mouth, right? Because if you just eat food and your body has not prepared for it, right, you're going to get sick, right? Like if you guys smelled right now and you smelled fresh baked chocolate chip cookies, what would your mouth do? It would start to water because it's already preparing enzymes before you eat. They're not doing that, right? They're not making any of these pancreatic enzymes. So your body gets all this food dumped into it and it was like, I was not ready. So what do you think it's going to do? Dump it, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. So you would need to give pancreatic enzymes with every meal. Those have to be, and snack. Those have to be opened and sprinkled on their food so it can start eating their food before they do. It's called pancrealipase. You can't mess up that drug. Okay, pancrealipase. Okay. All right, next function of the pancreas. It makes somatostatin and amylin. I already told y'all what this did. What does it do? Somatostatin and amylin slows down stomach motility. Why would you want to slow down your stomach motility? No, because we eat too much. Okay, we eat too much. And it knows we all eat too much. Like America as a whole just, we don't eat too much. Okay, so we'll eat 6 donuts at one time. Now, what does that going to do to your blood sugar if you eat 6 donuts at one time? Skyrocket it. So your pancreas is like, girl, I got you. I'm going to slow down your stomach so only get like 1 donut every hour instead of 6 at one time. Do you understand? But when it's broken, it's going to slow it down to the point where it stops. And that is called, I already told y'all today. Gastroparesis. Gastroparesis. Now, if your stomach is just stopped, your body's going to try to get rid of that food. So you will have severe nausea, vomiting. Are you with me? Okay. Next function of the pancreas, it makes glucagon. Y'all tell me what glucagon does. It is a hormone that tells your liver to release its glycogen stores. Yes? And when is glucagon produced? When you're hypoglycemic, because it's like, hey, you're not bringing me in any sugar. I got to get some from the liver. Got it? So what happens if that's broken? You're probably going to have you could have hyper or hypo, because either the liver is going to open its doors and be like, forget it, I don't know when to do it, so just take it. Or if you're not producing any glucagon, you're hypoglycemic and you can't even ask the liver for sugar. You see what I mean? Okay. Next function of the pancreas is it helps to empty the gallbladder of bile into the small intestines, because we have a duct, do we not? Okay, we've got this duct right here, which is the common hepatic duct. You've got this duct here, which is the cystic duct, and the cystic duct will dump through the common bile duct into the pancreas. So that's how these two are connected. Yes? So if the pancreas is broken, it's not working, this duct isn't working. So the bile and all these enzymes that are supposed to be coming through the pancreas and go into your intestines to help you digest your food are no more. Oh no, what's going to happen? You're going to get gallstones and you're going to get cholecystitis because your gallbladder cannot empty into the intestines and into the pancreas. Do you understand? And then when gallbladder's mad, who else mad? Now we done angered the big daddy, right? Now you're going to get bilirubin issues and pneumonia. You understand? Okay. Do you understand pancreas functions? I got to move quick. Okay. Now that you know what the pancreas does, let's talk pancreatitis. Itis means inflammation of the pancreas. All right. Now something done made it very mad. Yes? Okay. So we're going to start with a chronic pancreatitis. Now, anytime you drink alcohol, it hurts your liver. You hurt your liver, you also hurt your pancreas. Okay, so the number one cause of chronic pancreatitis is alcohol. The second cause would be gallstones, because if there are gallstones, then pancreas gets real mad because it can't drain properly. Do you understand? Yes. All right. In chronic pancreatitis, they have a constant, dull mid-epigastric, which is right here, right? Right here. Can you all see? Okay. Mid-epigastric. They may also say it goes in the left chest because the this part of the pancreas goes this way. You understand when you got this? Okay. And they may also say there's back pain because obviously your organ's in the middle of your body. Yeah. When would it be the worst? After meals, because after meals, your gallbladder is going to be like, I got to do something, but then there's something blocked, right? So it can't go into the pancreas, and the pancreas is going to get mad. You with me? All right, so let's talk signs and symptoms. You're going to give me a rationale. Why would a patient with chronic pancreatitis, which by the way, when your pancreas is angry, it still produces its enzymes. What are the enzymes of the pancreas? Amylase and lipase and trypsin. Now, what is their job? To break down all your foods, right? Okay. Now, it is still going to produce these, but instead of being able to drain into here, they just sit right here. What do enzymes do? Just enzymes. They eat and break down. So they just sit on top of your pancreas and eat it. Think that hurts? Well, it does. Okay. It hurts very badly. Now, this is chronic, so it's going to be a constant, like, it's just constantly, like, snacking on your pancreas. You with? Weight loss. Think they're gonna feel like eating anyway? No, it hurts all the time. Y'all ever had abdominal pain? Like, I mean, or chronic abdominal pain? People like that, like they hate eating because it hurts all the time. Because of the anorexia. Why might they have steatorrhea? Well, what is steatorrhea? Fatty, frothy stool. That means they're not able to break down fat because they're missing. This is a very easy question. Lipase. Breaks down your fats. Okay, but instead of it going into your intestines, it's going and sitting on your pancreas. Do you understand? Why might they have hyperglycemia? You can't produce insulin if you're being eaten alive. Yes. Cool. Low-grade fever. It's an itis. Yes, it's an inflammation, which would cause you to have fever. Why might they have abdominal and tender abdomen, like abdominal distension? That's different than a rigid board-like abdomen. Do y'all know what distended abdomen looks and feels like? It's very firm to the touch, and it's painful. When you touch it, they're angry. Your pancreas is eating itself. And so your body's like, something is wrong, and it's bringing a bunch of fluids. They're going to be distended, and when you push on it, and the pancreas is like, hello, I'm being eaten alive. Please stop pushing on me. Okay? Why might they have jaundice and dark urine? Liver's mad, isn't he? Why might they have leukocytosis? It's an inflammation. Nausea, vomiting is a given. All these conditions are going to cause nausea, vomiting. You with? Why might they have low calcium and mag? Those are the two electrolytes you have to eat. Your body does not make calcium at all, and it makes very little mag. You have to eat those. Are they eating? Why would they have low potassium? They're puking. Yes, they're puking. Cool. But you're right. It is predominant intracellularly. I think that's what you were trying to say. Okay. All right. How would I diagnose this? I need to actually see that the pancreas is mad, right? So I'll do an abdominal ultrasound, and then I can also do an ERCP. What does an ERCP stand for? Endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography. Good job. All right, now to treat it. Oh, also, the number one would be increased amylase and lipase, and it's going to be like in the thousands, like way more than it normally is. But where actually is it sitting? Most of it's sitting on the pancreas, just eating it, right? Okay, so I need to give him something for the pain. That is called analgesics. I need to give him something for the pukey puke. Antiemetics. I need to give them something for the hyperglycemia. Sliding scale insulin. They're probably going to be producing a lot of cortisol because their body's under a lot of stress. So I need to give them a PPI, okay, which ends in Prezol, okay. I need to give them a calcium supplement, yes, because they are low in calcium. And pancreatic enzymes with every meal and snack. How do I administer those? You open the capsule and you sprinkle it onto the food and the snack. What's the drug called? Pancrealipase. All right. What am I going to do for this patient? Well, we do want a lower fat diet because if I have a high fat diet, who's going to be mad? The gallbladder, right? And I don't want to make the gallbladder mad because pancreas is already mad, right? A high carb diet. Why would I put him on a high carb diet? It's easy to break down the gut. I already told you all that, right? All the GI conditions, you would pick a higher carb diet, right? It would worsen their hyperglycemia, but at this point, I'm giving sliding scale insulin anyway, right? And their liver is not able to give them the sugar storage that they need. Yeah. All right. We are going to monitor their blood sugar and administer SSI. What's SSI? Sliding scale insulin. We obviously need to increase their fluid. We're going to flush all of this stuff out. Watch their bowel movement, small frequent meals, don't smoke. And the number one thing you're going to teach a patient with pancreatitis, no alcohol. Okay, that is a number one thing you will always pick. This is the good hand washing of pancreatitis. Okay. All right, let's talk about acute pancreatitis. This one is ugly. These patients come in severe pain. Okay. Severe upper abdominal and upper back pain. They look bad. They come in with a very high fever, nausea, vomiting. They will not lay down. Their blood pressure is very low because I just told you they're puking. Yes. Okay. So blood pressure is very low, which means their heart rate is going to be very high. Okay. They're going to have abdominal guarding and tenderness, jaundice. Now they have dyspnea. Now, why would this patient have dyspnea? Where's the pancreas located? Right across here. What's located right across here? My lungs. So those pancreatic enzymes will start eating your lungs. They may have steatorrhea, which means fatty frothy stool because they're not getting the lipase into the gut. Yes? So they will have steatorrhea or they may just have diarrhea because your body's like, I can't recognize any of this food because I don't have amylase or lipase or trypsin. Okay? They're going to come in with anorexia, which y'all know that just means I don't feel like eating. It has nothing to do with weight, correct? Okay. And then they're going to be very dehydrated. So I'm going to run some labs. And what I will tell you about their labs, everybody look at me, this is very important. All of their labs, not vitals, all of their labs are high except one. What's the one? Calcium. Okay. So I'm going to give you a lab and you're going to tell me in pancreatitis what you're going to see. White blood cell. ESR, because that's a marker of CRP, AST, ALK phos, ALT, calcium, glucose. Okay, so you see all their labs are high except, do you understand? Okay, so there are two signs that you have to look for in acute pancreatitis, Collins and Turner's. This is very often on NCLEX, okay, and this is always on exams. All right, does anybody know what they are? Okay, so remember that all our liver patients bleed. All right, so now this is pancreatitis, but liver's also going to be a little angry, right? So Collins is in a C right around their umbilicus. It's bruising. It literally makes a C around there, like C for Collins. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not why they named it that. I'm just telling you that. And then Turner's is when they turn around, there's bruising all on their flank. You with me? Okay, so Collins and Turner's, positive Collins and Turner's tell me they have acute pancreatitis. This patient will also have positive Chivosics and Trissos. What does that tell me? They have hypocalcemia. Are y'all with me? Okay. So how am I going to diagnose pancreatitis? What's the main way to do it? Amylase and lipase. But I can also do an abdominal ultrasound. We can do a CT or we can do an ERCP, which stands for endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography. Y'all are so smart. All right, how do we treat it? Well, how is this going to kill the patient? In a pancreatitis patient, how will they die first? Hypovolemia, because they're going to go into shock. So what's the first thing you need to do for this patient? Fluids. What's the second thing you need to do? Treat for pain, right? Thank you. It's lovely. Very Jackson Pollock. All right, so you need to do fluids and then you need to treat the pain. Now this is very bad pain, so how are you going to treat it? But how are you going to give it to them? They need a PCA, right? Patient controlled analgesia. Okay. What are we going to do for the vomiting? Antiemetics. What are you going to do for the fever? Antipyretics. What are you going to do for that high blood sugar? What are you going to do for that calcium? Yeah, but remember they have nausea vomiting, so do not pick calcium PO. You better watch that on a test because y'all are going to see calcium be like, she said it. And then it says the patient has severe nausea and vomiting. You're like, here's a pill. No. Do you understand? Okay. All right. Priority. Fluids. Priority 2. Pain. You would have to check your school for if they got those backwards, which most of them do. On NCLEX, it's fluids and pain. For other schools, they may say pain and then fluids, but you'll understand why pain will never be a priority because you can't die from it. Oh, I thought I really upset you. Okay. Now for pain, you can only give meperidine. What is meperidine? Demerol. You cannot give morphine. Morphine upsets the sphincter of Oddi, which is a part of the pancreas. That's often on your test. So I know that y'all are going like, that's an interesting fun fact. No, write it down. Okay, or highlight it. All right, how do you want to sit this patient? Because they can't breathe, so you should sit them upright. And you probably got to put them on an SpO2 and maybe some oxygen if they're, SpO2 is like 1, okay? You want to give them massive amounts of fluids. This patient's going to be NPO for a while, so you need to make him NPO, put him on IV fluids, and then drop a NG tube to suction. Remember, because they're going to be NPO for a while. Y'all with me? Okay. Watch the blood sugar, give him insulin. What's the best indicator of this patient's fluid balance? Daily weight. Watch all their labs, watch their bowel movements. And then if they get Trisose or Chivosix, what do? You need to report that, right? Because that tells me they have hypocalcemia. Do you understand? Do we understand pancreatitis?